I'm doing fine. I was studying. Actually, I have to be honest. I didn't do much of the homework because I've been focusing on trying to remember all the theory I had. So far, I think I am doing pretty good at that. But yeah, I'm doing right now some easy level exercises.
Okay,
But
that's good.
I'm trying to remember all of that theory because it's a lot.
That's good. So yeah, consolidating the theory is important because we're almost finishing, right? We're in verbs right now, I think. What are we
Yeah,
doing right now?
right now
Verbs,
we're
right?
on. I think we left report this speech.
Reported speech, right? So yeah, we're verbs today. Most likely, we're gonna finish. We might get to do a little bit of the next following lesson, which is comparisons, and then we're almost done with sentence correction. That's a good thing.
Okay,
And then we're gonna redo the whole platform. Redo the whole platform. Okay.
okay,
So that's important. So they're basically just now with all the tools, with all the right tools, right?
okay.
You're going to start basically tackling all those questions and make sure that you totally understand why the other four get eliminated. Okay.
That's my problem, I think, because I can feel which one is the correct one, but
Right.
I can really say why the other ones are that wrong.
That's what we always have to do. You have to try to do that when you're doing homeworks, right? Maybe not. I mean, little by little, right? First, you start analyzing them with a lot of time, and then soon you'll start incorporating those into your elimination system when you're doing it live. Okay,
Okay,
but of course, that's what you have to aim at. That's what we want to achieve by the end of the sentence correction course. Sentence correction is the building block. Maybe it's like the backbone of the whole GMAT for verbal list. Okay, so we want to get that really cool. So we're gonna go here to pick it up from. We're gonna pick this up from verbs, right? Verbs here.
yeah.
Sentence correction theory, and we have verbs. Okay. Now let me share the screen with you. We were talking about reported speech, right? What was reported speech about? We left there actually. We didn't do that, right?
No, we didn't do that yet.
So reported speech is here. This one. If you have a verb and you want to have a clause after clause, the theory tells you you need to have a that in the middle. For example, if I want to say, Joe thinks that the GMAT is a great exam, right? The GMAT is a great exam is a clause. Thinks is a verb, right? So in the middle, you have to have that. So you need a subordinator for that clause. That's the first theory. If you have a verb and then you have a clause, you got to have a that in the middle. With the exception, they say, right? With the exception of two verbs, say and announce. Those two verbs are exceptions. So basically, they're telling you that you can't use say and announce plus a clause without a that.
Okay,
Only those two. Okay. Now this one is a rule that has to do with clarity. Why am I saying this? Because that it's not so. I mean, it's strong, but it's not the strongest rule, right? There are other things that are more important, like meaning, logic, those kind of things. And so this is an important rule, but it's in let's say category three. Yeah, category three.
which one is category three? This one, the reported
Clarity
speech.
and yes, that rule that we are talking about to have a
Okay,
that between your verb and your clause is category three,
okay,
not category one or two.
okay,
Now they tell you. I mean, this happens with a lot of verbs, right? Whatever verb you can add a clause after. Now after that, they tell you you have modal verbs, right? Modals. You have eight modals. Two of them are neutral. All right, neutral are should and must. So basically, they are neither past nor present. Okay, three of the modals are present and three of the modals are past. The present ones are these ones: can, may, and will. The past ones are could, might, and would. They're counterparts. So basically, can is the present of could. Might is the past of may. Would is the past of will.
Okay.
Okay? So those are our modals. And they say, depending on the tense of your reporting verb, in this case, we have reporting verb, we have reporting clause. Right? Subordinate clause with that after a reporting verb is called reporting clause. It's a clause, right? So, depending on the tense of your reporting verb, there are certain modals you can't use. You can't. So, if you have your reporting verb in the present, you are forbidden to use modal verbs in the past. So, if I have things, if I want to use a modal here, I could never use could, might,
Or wolf.
or would. That's an immediate elimination. That's a stronger rule. That's strong. Okay, that's number one. This rule is number one. So it's a strong rule. Likewise, if this here, let me erase this. If this verb here, thinks, were in the past, right? Thought, then you are forbidden to use modals in the present. Can, may, or will in your reporting clause.
So
That's a very handy rule.
so present goes with can, may, and will, and past with past, right? Present with present and past.
If you want to use a model, yes.
Okay.
Present with present, past with past.
So I have to remember which one are present with which one.
Yes, that's very important. And that's very important. Remember, can, may, and will are present, could, might, and would are past. Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Nice. So now we're going to go to this one. Why is this one wrong?
Which one?
Why do you think that's wrong?
Mike said he will arrive. Say his past.
Said it's in the past, yes.
If that his friend will arrive later. Because past is using a will.
You're using a will, right? So you cannot have a past and a will. Wrong. Right away. Nice. So now we can go to number 8.
Okay. So could be letter D.
Letter D. Let's see. Why are the other ones incorrect? That's right. Letter D is the answer, but why?
Okay. First. Um. So the verb is predicts. Predicts is in present, right?
Very good. Predicts is in the present.
Yeah.
So
So we can use wolf.
would. Okay, would
Yes.
gets eliminated. Nice. What
Mm,
else?
so also shall finally. Um. Well, here I found that okay, you can use will because it's in the present. Letter C and E I eliminated because of they changed the meaning.
Letter C and E. In the
Yeah,
same way? Okay, how?
because they're talking about well, we felt that timber, and in the real sentence, they're talking about the density of the timber. So
Here they have Timberwolf density.
I know, yeah. I'm talking about letter E. First element in letter E, because
Timberwolf and say the same thing.
yes, but in the original sentence is not like that. That density of the timber is the same.
Isn't it the same? If they
Uh,
say
well, they changed the order.
the actually no. I mean,
No.
that's good. This is just wrong. Okay, there are certain words you cannot adjectivize. If I say that car that is red, and I say the red car, isn't it the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same. No difference there. But if I say a change, a change in the population, and then I say a population change, is it the same or not?
No, it's not the same.
Why not?
Because first we're talking about a change in the population.
The second one,
We're talking about how the population change.
right, kind of thing. When you have, yes, when you have quantity words, quantity words,
Synonym?
you can no, not second.
No.
Quantity words like population, like
Okay.
density, like increase, those kind of things.
Mhm.
And you have a change in something, an increase in something, a density of something, you cannot use that something to adjective, give it an adjective. Okay, I cannot do this with those. So that's why if it's a density of wolf population, you're gonna say population or timber wolf density. That would be wrong. It's a density of something, not use that something as an adjective. Why? Because the word density is a quantity word.
Okay. It's
Okay,
just
that's why it sounded odd to you, and that's good. It sounded odd. But here, it's. I'm sorry, you were about to say something.
just with quantity words.
Yes, with quantity words,
Okay.
because otherwise you could do it, right? If you have a car, for example, the car that is red car, yeah, that's fine. Why is that wrong?
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now that's why it sounded odd. But here, the most striking difference, though, is should and will. They are totally different. Totally. So should needs to be eliminated for two reasons.
It's a model, right? It's gonna
Number,
change
they're
the.
both models. Should is changing the meaning way too much. Okay, meaning. But it's also wrong actually here. Nonsensical. Why? Because there are certain verbs that cannot imply certain verbs can't imply opinions or uh, possibilities. It's important. So, for example, I cannot say the scientists or the weather forecast, the weather people predict that tomorrow it may rain. Can I say that? They predict. So when they predict it, it's like they're saying something will happen, right? That tomorrow it may rain. Is that a prediction? No. May goes against what it means to predict something, right? When you predict something with certainty. The word prediction already implies that it might not happen, but you predict something with certainty. You see?
Yes, we got it.
You cannot say predict may. The same way you can say predict may, you cannot say predict should.
Or
Should is it's an opinion.
any more verb too.
No, you can say will. Will is a modal verb too.
Oh, okay.
Will is a modal verb that indicates something, a statement, not a possibility or an opinion. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So in that case, should is totally out for those two reasons. Now, besides this one, there is something going on at the end with countable and uncountable modifiers between D and E. Do you see it? Do you see what's going on?
Mm, Greater down. Numerous.
More numerous, and the other one is greater, right? So
Yes.
which one makes more sense? Which one's better?
Mm, so letter D, greater, down.
Why not more numerous?
Um, uh, numerous is with is from number an amount.
Very good. For more numerous is something countable.
Yes.
What are you trying to modify here?
Uh, the wolf population. The
Nope.
timber. The timber.
Nope.
In the region were more in that region were more numbers
What is a
than
noun there? What is a noun? There's only one noun.
the expert that regions for example California, Minnesota will tell if the density the density.
The density, very good. And density is an uncountable
Yes.
noun. So it can be modified with more numerous. Greater is for both. Greater is one of those modifiers that applies to both countable and uncountable. That's the difference. You see?
Yeah.
So that's also another one, but the one you said was fine too. Okay. So that's how we answer here. D is the answer. Any questions?
No.
Nice. So now we go here too. Number 9. How do we do that?
Just a quick question. Can I use much less, like that? I
Much and less.
yeah, yes,
Much less? Yes, of course, because the word less
it's uncountable, right?
and the word more, it's uncountable, yeah, but they can be three things. They have three functions. Number one, they can be nouns, right? If I say, I want more, period. More is like a noun, you see? Now, it can be an adjective too. If I say, I want less food, less is modifying food. And number three, they could also be an adverb. If they say, for example, today I worked more than before. Worked more, adverb. In this case, less is behaving as what? Decline less, adverb. What is much doing? Another adverb for less. So we know adverbs can modify other adverbs. So that's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay? Nice.
So first of all, I will have to eliminate all those ones with will,
With will, why?
because the sentence or the verb is in the past.
Which one is a verb?
Announce.
Very good. That's my verb. And now will is out. Nice. It's the first thing we do. Yes. Those three are out.
Mm-hmm.
Totally out.
So right now I have a past perfect, right?
You
Yes,
have a past perfect. You
yes.
can do this in two ways. You can use tenses, which I think is the most direct route, but also you could use parallelism.
Okay.
You have two ways to do it.
Mm, could be letter B.
Okay, but the important is why is the other one wrong?
I know.
That's good. That's good.
Uh,
Yeah, it could be letter B.
Okay,
But
well,
what would be better than D?
so expected them to. Um, so if I use tenses,
Hmm.
first they had expected. First, first had they expected something and they're announcing.
Nice. That's a way. If you just choose expected, the past, simple past, you'll be putting it in the same tense as announced, the same time. And those two actions would have needed to have happened at the same time, which is not the case. First, you expect, and because of that, then you announce something. So that's not true. That's out, and had expected is fine. Now, what about the parallelism?
Okay. So there's the connector
There's a connector and yes.
and there's a pronoun. There's a possessive pronoun, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
business.
Yes.
So then its profits decline. There will be parallel with its business will. So it's past with
That's
no.
not how we should evaluate
Okay,
parallelism.
well,
Parallelism always about structures.
yeah. So it's
Number two is start on the right.
yeah.
Normally you start on the right, not always. I mean, if you have a good idea on what you want to make parallel on the left, you can start on the left. But that's most of the time not going to be the case.
Okay, so its business is the one I want to make parallel with the left. Okay.
Structures, structures. So if we don't do this
Ah, okay,
because of
okay.
the
So
structures, it's not going to work. What is the
mm,
structure that you have after? Let's go B. What structure you have after that?
that's
And
a that class.
that's a subordinate clause with that. That's it. That
Or in
clause.
the
The
class.
same thing. Nice. Subordinate clause with that. Theory tells you if you want to make a subordinate clause with that parallel to another thing, what should
The
that other
same
thing?
the same
Another
subordinate.
subordinate clause with that. Is there
Yes.
another subordinate clause with that to the left?
Yes, that it's
Yes.
profit. Yep.
And apparently those two are parallel. What happens with D? What do you have on the right?
Um, business but it have to be like all the structure, like you said.
Yeah, the structure. What structure do you have in there?
I was it now. It's a class. Okay.
Main clause.
Yes.
Do you have a main clause on the left? Yes. What is the main clause?
The company
Company
announced.
announced.
Yes.
Okay, meaning, what do you want to make that part logically? What do you want to make that part to? If you make it part to the main clause, you're saying the company announced something and then independently its business would improve, which doesn't make too much sense. Apparently, it sounds like here they want to say the company announced two things. Number one, that the profits have declined, and number two, which is another part of the announcement, that the business would improve.
Hmm.
You see? So here, that's why letter B has to be the one because we want to make it parallel to the subordinate clauses. Okay? Nice. That's how we do parallelism. Remember, always get the structure and then get your what's parallel. Now, with parallelism, definitely that what you were trying to do is to isolate this noun.
Yep.
Okay, that will work only in one case if you have two nouns close. Like for example, Joe and Mary go to work. Okay, that will work. Yeah, I have Mary and I am making part. You didn't have that here. That's why you can't do that. Okay, so you have to see, look at this thing like if it was a uh, whole clause.
GMAT, usually I will have to do parallelism like that, or with
Yeah, always like that, right?
no, but with clauses more often,
No,
or
I mean it's kind of. I mean it's not. Well, we don't have a like a rate
okay.
of how often they're shown, but that's why we always start on the right because on the left we have too many possibilities. We're open to or for too many options, and we don't like that. Okay, so always start on the right. So here we go over the hypothetical subjunctive. So here we stop talking about tenses. We're done with tenses and we go to a different theory. What is a hypothetical subjunctive? Is when you are trying to indicate something that is not likely to happen, something that is either hypothetical or that is false or that is doubtful, let's say, fantasies. For example, when I say, I wish I were, let's say, a king. Okay. Why I say I were a king? Some people say that's wrong. That's fine. Because this verb here is not indicating the simple past. Even though it has a structure of the simple past, it is indicating what? A hypothetical construction. Okay. So, and why is that? Why does that make sense? Because of course that's something that is unreal. Right? I'm not a king, so I wish I were a king. That's hypothetical. Okay. Now, what is the format or the structure? The structure of the hypothetical verb, the simple past. So for each of the verbs, if you want to put them in hypothetical, you just use a simple past. The only difference you're going to make is with the verb to be. Why? Because what happens with the verb to be when you want to put it in the past? What is the past of the verb to be?
Where, uh, where or was?
Right, you have two, right? Was and were, right?
Yes.
In the case of the hypothetical, you're never going to use was. You're
Okay.
going to use were for all of them, for singular and plural. That's why here I say I wish I were a king. Because I'm not using the simple past, I'm using the hypothetical, which looks the same as the simple past, but it's not the same.
Okay.
Okay? Good. Nice. Now, the important thing for us to remember is this. There are two types of keywords, the absolute ones and the relative ones. The absolute ones are way more important, and those are as if and as though. These two are subordinators. Okay? Subordinators. So you might want to include them in your list of subordinators, as if and as though. They are absolute. Why? Because whenever you have as if or as though, you will need to use this hypothetical construction. Okay? Normally, you have as if or as though, and then you have a clause, plus a clause. And that clause, the verb in that clause needs to be in the hypothetical construction.
Mm, the hypothetical construction is like that. I wish I were a king.
The simple past.
Okay.
So
Correct.
when I say hypothetical construction is the structure of the verb in the past. Not with I wish. I mean, that's just an example.
Okay. I know.
Yeah. So yes, the verb. The verb needs to be in hypothetical structure.
Hmm.
Now, the other one, the relative keywords, they are not so helpful. Why? Because sometimes you're going to use them for to denote trigger the hypothetical. Some other times, no, right? So sometimes they work and some other times they don't. So there you have the verb wish, like in this case, or the subordinator if. So verb wish or subordinator if sometimes they will give an indication that they need that hypothetical. And so they're not so useful. Now, is this correct or not? What do you think?
Mm, as though. So I just have one question. In the relative case, I don't have the same structure, like with simple past and that, or yes, I have.
You have to have when we say you are using the hypothetical structure of the simple past.
Always with simple. Okay.
That's what a hypothetical is.
Okay. Mm, or as if he had. Mm, mm. So if subordinator as if. I can I cannot recognize the error.
So here We have the subordinator, as if. What is as if? We just mentioned that as if has a function. What's the function of as if?
It's not like subordinator if
Okay, good. As if. But what more is it? Here you have it.
it's a relative, right?
Here.
It's a relative. It's a
Nope.
keyword. No?
As if is an absolute keyword.
Oh, I was
Yep.
looking the second one. The,
Notice, as if is not if.
yeah,
Those
yeah,
are two different things.
you're right. Yeah.
Just as, for
So,
example, um, in that, you're going to see that it's not that.
oh, in which?
Or in which is not which, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So the prepositions change
yeah.
the subordinator. So
So we have to have the class. The
we got to have a clause after as
yes.
if. Then what?
It must be in the past simple.
It must be in the structure of a simple past, which is a hypothetical, right?
Yes,
So in that case, had it's fine. Yes.
yes.
Then of course you have to check the meaning and say, okay, is that meaning correct or not? Right. I
Mm,
mean, in reality, is this sentence something that is a fantasy or doubtful? Yeah. If it is, then that's fine, right? Well, it always has to agree with the meaning. Okay. Nice. So that's what we have for the hypothetical subjunctive. This is something that is very uncommon on the GMAT. But
okay.
when it do comes, it's kind of troublesome.
It's,
So go to yes.
in that case, it's not likely to happen because could happen, right? The he had the flu, but
It could happen, but it's doubtful. I mean, doubtful means that we're not certain.
so that is hypothetical.
It's hypothetical. We don't know, but we assume, but we don't know.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Mm.
So let's see here number 10.
So well, I know that I have to eliminate. I'm pretty sure I have to eliminate that last one
Very good. How come?
because there is no. So we have as though.
Mm-hmm.
Then we must have past simple tense.
Simple tense, and we must have a clause, right? And then simple. So
Yeah.
we don't have past simple.
No.
So that's out. Nice.
Well, the other ones I'm not that sure because I'm trying to look for keywords.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I know that there is where, which is good because we only use where. Mm, but well, actually, I know that letter B could be uh, either be eliminated or something because it's not like past perfect.
All right. Why is that perfect incorrect? Why don't you like it?
We see them as they have been during the formation of the word because it's like continuous or something like that. Now we're talking about the past. Mm,
Mm, let's see. Why is it wrong? What do you need when you have a past perfect?
a
Let's talk
past.
about the requirements.
When we use past perfect. Something to overlap.
Nope, that's that continuous. That's the ing.
Oh yeah, right.
Past perfect. We first mean
A past
want to have another.
Past of the past, right?
action in the past, and this is supposed to be before the other action in the past,
Yeah.
right? So do we have another action in the past? No,
No.
that's it. So that's the reason why it is wrong. Nice. Then what?
Okay. So as if must have also in letter C a clause. This is in past simple.
Very good. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
Out. So as if and as though are out because of the same reasons.
Yeah.
Cool. So for cool.
They appear to us as they did. So in letter as they did. Well, letter A and D, there are not marked keyword, right?
There are
So,
no keywords anymore. Right. So none
mm,
of them are hypothetical, actually.
so
None of them are
there's
hypothetical. They are kind of the same. I mean, both of them are statements, which is good because if we read the question carefully or the sentence carefully, they don't want to add hypothetical here.
okay,
They're just
because
saying something
it's a
happened.
fact, right?
It's a fact. Exactly.
'Cause there's something there.
So now, what should we do between A and D?
Well, as they were doing. For me, will be letter A, but I know I have to eliminate letter D. Um, so they appear to us as they did in the formation of the universe, or we see them as they were during. Oh well, no,
It's pretty
actually,
simple here. Pretty simple. We shouldn't just try to think it so much. Let's see.
actually, letter
If
D
we go
looks
through the steps, well, that's very easy.
okay. So,
We should think about it this way. Is there any reason why I should change the first one?
mm, not really.
No, really.
Yes.
That's it.
No.
There you go. That's it. Letter D might work. Yeah, it's not the same meaning. They say we see them. They say they appear. A little different. Is it correct? Yeah, but why should I change the first one? That's the question,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So no, we shouldn't change it. No,
So
it wasn't wrong.
there's nothing wrong with letter D. Okay.
No, nothing wrong with letter D either.
Okay.
Both of them are fine. Now they're a little different. With CM is one thing. They appear is different. Because they
Oh,
appear could be implied that they were not there before, and from one moment to the next, they just appear like boom. So they showed up,
and
right?
what happened? Oh, I remember that when we were talking about past the continuous tenses,
hmm
um, we prefer
This
avoid
is
the.
not a continuous tense, though.
Well, yeah, it's a past.
No, that this is a tricky thing. The
Okay.
word during it's not an ing really. It ends with ing, right? But it's not an ing. It's not an adjective. It's a preposition.
Okay. They were.
It's one of those very very tricky ones. It happens to end with ing, but it's not a verb. You don't have a verb to do, right?
No.
So it's not a real verb.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So it's a yes, it's a fake, right? It's a phony. Good. So that's what happens. There. It's not. It's just this is just a simple past. Okay? Nice, nice. So now we go to number this one here. This one is a little tricky. It's kind of important. Okay, it's gonna take some time for you to memorize the whole thing. Okay, so here, how do we start this? Thing number one. By this time, we should already know that the word if is a subordinator. I should be clear with that. Okay, if is a subordinator. Now, if being a subordinator, you might have one of these two scenarios. I mean, you can have more, right? I mean, let's say joining clauses is not the only function of subordinators, but most of the time they will be doing so. So normally you find if with a clause number one, comma, clause number two, or clause number one, if clause two, something like that. Okay, so that's what we're gonna have. In the first one, clause number one is the one that is getting subordinated. Well, clause number two is the independent main clause, right? The second clause is subordinated, and the first one is the main clause. Up to there, everything clear?
Yeah, can you repeat just one more time, please?
Sure. Are we okay with the fact that if is a subordinator?
Yes.
Okay. So normally, not all the time, but normally you will find if, because one function of subordinators is to join clauses, right?
Okay.
Join two clauses. So normally you'll find if with two clauses, right? In any of these forms, either subordinating the first clause or subordinating the second clause.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, now, as far as the meaning, if is going to be fine, as long as we have this meaning, that the subordinate clause gives you a condition, and the main clause gives you a result, something, a result. Okay, so that's the dynamics that should be when you use if. Okay, so
Conditional.
condition and result. If you don't have that dynamic, that relationship between those two clauses, then if would be incorrect. So if is giving you a condition and linking it to a result.
Okay.
Okay. Sometimes we're gonna propose the split of if versus whether. Are we okay with the difference between the two? Are you clear with the difference?
I remember that whether was. I remember a study about this. Oh no, I know there is a
If
big
is for
difference.
conditions and whether is
For facts, right?
for
Or
opinion, for options. I'm sorry,
options. Okay.
options. Well, if is for conditions.
If
So if you say, I don't know if I'm gonna go tomorrow, that would be wrong.
so, if I have to answer yes or no, which like just yes or no, which one will I use? If or whether?
If
Just
you have to
whether.
answer yes or no,
I remember there was a trick that if you can answer with a yes or no to that whether
oh
she's
yeah,
going. Okay.
whether is for yes or no, because whether always implies a not, right? So if you say, I don't know if I'm going tomorrow, that's wrong. It should be, I don't know whether I'm going tomorrow,
Okay.
whether I'm going or not.
Okay.
Right. So for options, whether it happens or it doesn't happen, then you use whether and not if. If it's for conditions, for example, if you say, if you go to the party tomorrow, you're going to have a fun time.
Okay.
So then it's like, if you do this, you'll get a result. See?
Mm,
Nice. So now let's go here, number one. Now, these are different arrangements for if, for these two clauses, right? You have the if conditional clause and then you have the result clause. Here they tell you, when you choose the verb for the conditional clause, then you're kind of, you have some options to choose for the tense of the verb in the result clause. But there is no freedom. I mean, these two clauses need to have certain arrangements of verbs.
like parallelism, something like that.
Not quite parallelism, it's just basically logic representing basically tenses of verbs. Because parallelism doesn't really care too much about tenses. All right.
Mm,
This is more about tenses. So if you choose one tense, then you have to go with that particular tense on the other clause.
okay. Okay. Got it.
Let's see. If you touch water, you get wet. That's number one. Yeah. If you touch water, touch is in the present, you can get it in the present too on the other side. So that's one of the options. Present with present. You use this when you want to say, want to give a natural outcome. Outcome that happens 100% of the time. So basically, that's like a natural thing, right? If you touch water, whenever you touch water, it doesn't matter if it's the future, in the past, whenever you touch water, you're going to get wet. You see?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's for natural outcome. The
Okay.
second one is kind of the same. If it's in the present, and then you're going to add a modal can or may on the result or the main clause. If you study, you may pass exam.
Hmm.
May pass. Now that's also for a possibility that is present 100% of the time. So whenever you study, you have the chance. You have a chance of passing the exam.
Okay.
And that's number two.
Conditions. conditions could be used in the past. Because if you have studied, you could
That's
pass.
number 5. Yes, you would have passed.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Number 5. Yes, but only the 6. That's the important thing. Only the 6, no more.
Okay, because
Actually, there's a couple more, but the human never uses them.
I just linked it with the thing we talked before. Because it's in present, are we using modal verbs for present, right? Can and may.
Yes,
So
that's
there's
good.
just the same with the past and the modal verbs we use in the
You're
past.
gonna find out that you don't have if in the past. You never have if in the past.
Yeah, okay, so, that was I talking about. Okay.
Yep. You're only gonna have if in the present, present perfect, past perfect, and hypothetical subjunctive,
Hmm.
but not if in the past. Then number 3, you have if in the present, but then now it's not in the present. Then it's in the future. Okay. If John studies tomorrow, present, right? Studies tomorrow, studies, right? He will pass the exam. In the future, he will get a result. This is for something that happens only one time. A particular thing that will take place. If you do something right now, you are going to get a result later on, but only for this particular time. So let's say if John studied yesterday, he might not pass the exam. I say, so it's not for all the time. It's not whenever Joe studies. No. If Joe studies tomorrow, only tomorrow, he will pass the exam. So it's
Yeah.
different from the first two because the first two were kind of natural, right? Outcomes.
So
Bigger.
I have to have a timestamp.
At times like tomorrow, in this
Yes.
case, no, not really necessary.
Okay.
Yep. Most of the time they will though, but that's not a requirement. Then we have number 4. If in the present perfect, then in the future. Okay. If John has studied, that's a present perfect, right? He
Hmm.
will pass exam. That's also for only one time. But basically, the difference between number 4 and number 3 is that the condition has to be already fulfilled. So if you have already completed that condition, then he will have a result in the future. But there's nothing you can do right now, really, to fulfill it. That's the main difference. Okay, that's the main difference between number 4 and number 3. Number 3, you can study right now, tomorrow, depending on what they say, right? But number 4, if you already did something, then you're gonna get that result. You don't have a chance kind of to do it anymore.
Got it.
Number 5 is the one that we know as regret. All right, regret, right? When people regret, they have this arrangement. If it's in the past perfect, and then the main clause is in the conditional perfect. Conditional. What is a conditional perfect? Perfect means a present perfect. Present perfect. Conditional. Whenever you see conditional here, it means would or could. Those two. So in this case, we have if John had studied, he would have passed the exam. Conditional perfect.
If you had studied him on past exam. Okay.
So that's when people regret something that actually didn't happen, right? Didn't get to happen. Good. So that's a regret one. And number 6, let me raise some things here because yeah,
So the result in number 5 is a regret.
it's unreal. Something never happened.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that's why we call it regret. Yes. So now number 6 is the one that uses a hypothetical subjunctive and then a condition. I'm gonna write an example here. If John studied tomorrow, for example, he would pass the exam. Something like that. If John studied tomorrow, now that studied tomorrow, some people will say, well, why studied is in the past and tomorrow is in the future, right? The answer here is that studied is not on the past. It's not in the past. Studied is a hypothetical. It has the kind of the shape, the structure of the simple past, but in reality, it is not a simple past. It is a hypothetical. That's different. Okay. So we're saying this because it's kind of a hypothetical situation. If he were to study tomorrow, then he would get this result. In the case he does, but we don't know if we're not saying that for real that he needs to do it or he will do it. But if he does, then he will get this result.
Okay, so he will pass all his. Okay, would.
Conditional means would or could, right? So here we have could, would in this case.
Okay,
Okay,
yep.
so that's those are the six. Now, in the meantime, while you start memorizing this for maybe a couple, 3, 4 classes, then we have some common denominators, some rules, common rules that we want to memorize as soon as possible. Okay, so while you're going to take some time to memorize from 1 to 6, these rules should be memorized immediately. Number one, if is better than should when you want to set a condition. Right. So basically, sometimes you're going to use should to give you a condition, right? Like yeah, you might have heard something like, "Should you have any questions, please let us know."
Yes.
Right. That's too polite. The human doesn't like it, right? So of course, because of style, we want business writing, and business writing is if is more direct. So if is better than should, and of course, it will also be better than shall. Right? Shall sounds so British. It's just not good. Okay. So so if you want a condition, if is the way to go,
Okay.
basically. Rule number two, we shouldn't have a modal helping verb on the if clause. So here, if you notice all the subordinate clauses with if, you never have a modal verb in there. You don't have a can, may, will, would, may, should, must. Can, could, may, might. Right? You don't have them. So you are forbidden to have these modals in the subordinate clause. You can have them though in on the main clause. That's fine, like in B, right? But not on the subordinate clause. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
Okay. Rule number three: we should avoid a simple past in the result clause.
That
Avoid.
was I just talking about, right?
Yeah, the result, and also here we're gonna say rule number four: we should avoid simple past in the
Subordinate
condition
clause.
clause. Both of
Condition.
them, right? Normally, we don't like simple pasts. Okay, the only let's say time in which you might see a simple past on the condition clause is if in reality you have number six, and that simple past is a hypothetical. Right? It would look like a simple past, but in reality, it wouldn't be a simple past because we know that hypothetical is not a simple past. It looks like it, but it's not.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the rules we have. Any questions so far?
Well, it's a lot to process, but no.
It's a lot of theory, right? This one, this if then, and then we're gonna go to the bossy verbs. The bossy verbs are even more.
Hmm.
So with this one, number 11.
Okay. Mm, so here we have, so I can split letter A and B and C to E.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I have the result, who is that the students will take ethics seriously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the future, maybe. Yeah, that's in the future.
Okay.
And the condition should be either if with present or if with present perfect.
Okay. Nice.
Um, okay, so the letter D, if it was taught only as a separate and recorded class, it was. I don't know if that's correct.
We have. Let's apply the rules. These rules are even more important. Okay.
Okay,
One rule tells you you want to avoid
avoid a
simple
simple
past
past. Yes.
on both clauses actually, right? So here we have was. Now the only time you might see a simple past is if you have a hypothetical
Because
subjunctive.
subjunctive. Yes.
But can was be a hypothetical subjunctive? What do you think?
No, no,
Why not?
because we only use were.
That's it. So was is not a hypothetical. That's a simple past, and we don't like that. Now another rule tells you. What about the modals? What is the rule regarding modals?
Oh, so can or may?
Can or may. Okay, but
Yes.
what is the rule regarding modals? There's a rule tells you
Ah, okay.
you should not do what?
We prefer
Nope. Yes.
helping verb. We should
We
not
should
have
not
a
have a
modal.
modal inside a if clause.
Yes.
So on the condition clause, you should have no modals at all.
Yes, and there is only for the status require only wolf in letter E, right? Wolf.
Very good. Okay, that's out. Then what?
There's another one. If only if it's all the super required course, it's only as a course requires separating. Oh yeah, letter A also.
Letter also, right? Out. So those two are out.
Mm.
Easy. Now we go over B and C.
So
So
there's,
what about those two?
I don't know how to eliminate this because could you use only first and then if?
Why not?
Yes. Okay. No, there's, I don't know. There is a rule.
No,
Only
no rule. Well, we
is
have one rule we're gonna add now. Okay, that's good. Rule we're gonna see right now is called the adverbs of degree. And it's important. So I tell you, adverbs of degree are words such as all, often, almost, even, only. Okay. They tell you what these adverbs are very sensible. They're extremely sensible. Okay. So that's what I tell you, right? They are very sensible. Now, um, yes, and if you change them, you shift them from one position to another one, they're going to change the meaning. Change the meaning if you move them from one position to another one. Example, say, all the people are good versus the people
are all good.
are all good, right? What's the difference?
We're talking about that people, like specific people, maybe.
On which one, the first one or the second one?
The second one, the people are all good.
The first one is talking about the specific people.
No,
No, why not?
because we're
What?
talking about all the people.
That what is talking about? Why are you talking about specificity? What is a word that is specifying something there? Maybe that, right?
Yes.
And don't you have that in the first one? Yeah.
Mm,
So you're not talking about an open group. You're talking about the people. So in both of them, it's a specific group. As long as you have that,
I could
you are.
could have a different meaning,
Of course,
perhaps,
they have a very different meaning. How come? Let's see. The first one, you have all the people, right?
but referring to all.
All is modifying people. So basically, they're saying every
Yes.
single person is doing this thing.
Hmm.
On the other one, all is not modifying people. All is modifying good. Yeah,
Yes,
all
because
is modifying good. So they're saying they're all good. It's the intensity of being good.
good. Yes.
That's
Yes.
a very different thing. Okay.
Hmm.
So that the important thing is this: when you see any of these words here, all, often, almost, even, only, you don't have to think too much. We don't do this through meaning. If you move in from position, you know the meaning is different. That's it. So if they have changed all from position, that's it. The meaning is different. There is no way to keep the meaning in that case.
Oh, so you. But first, I have to eliminate everything grammatically. Then I have go for different meaning, or not,
Everything grammatically for yeah. I mean, of course, we want to eliminate some of this verse, right? We want to respect the
or
um,
or I can
the
eliminate.
ways of elimination, right? But once you're evaluating the meaning, right, number four especially, you have to know those two meanings are different.
Okay.
So unless you think that the first one, the original one, is incorrect, then you have to choose.
Okay.
So in this case, which one are we going to choose?
Well, letter. Oh, we just have two, so letter E, I think.
Letter E as in elephant,
Uh, we were about to choose between two. Only letter
all right.
E.
Which one was the ones you had eliminated? Always keep track of your eliminations. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now, which ones were the ones you had eliminated? First was
Yes. Was
why?
because we cannot have a past perfect.
Very simple past.
Simple past. Sorry. Yes.
Very good.
And
Then
then
what? You had eliminated with why?
models. Because
Modals. We
models
cannot have
inside that
modals
condition.
inside a condition clause. Nice. So you are left with those two.
Oh, sorry.
What are you gonna
Letter
go for?
letter B.
B. Okay,
Yeah.
because only if is one thing, only as a course is a different thing.
Yes.
Okay, unless you see that only if is wrong, then you have to change. All right, but if not, then you have to go with only if. Now there is something that requires or deserves our attention here. What about this comma? Is it comma good? Some people when they read it, they say, okay, what happens with
If
that comma?
it's separate. Only if it's separate. No, it's not because it's like stop the flow, the meaning or something.
It's okay though. That's fine.
It's okay.
Why? Yeah, it's okay
Required
because
to.
that's a difficult use of the comma.
Wow.
It's one of the functions of the comma is to substitute for the word and when you have a list of two adjectives. So normally when we have lists, we always have to use the word and, right? And or but or one of those words, but normally and, right? So we have A and B, two things you link in with and because that's a list. That's correct.
A and B. Yes.
Okay, but in the case A and B are adjectives, for example, in this case, let's say Joe is friendly
And or
and cool guy. Okay,
okay.
in this case, I have two adjectives. Friendly is an adjective, even though it ends in Y is an adjective, and cool is an adjective. So I can substitute this and with a comma. If you have two adjectives in a list, you can change that and for a comma.
Just
And
with adjective.
just with two adjectives, nothing
Okay.
else. Yes.
Got
So
it.
in this case, separate required. It should have been separate and required, but they're just using this hack, and they're hacking the system. Is it?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, that's number 11. What about number 12 here?